This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal. Welcome. How you doing, man?
Good.
Yeah.
I talked to some of our listeners this weekend.
Yeah.
Because we got fans.
Yep.
Like 10 of them. 12s.
Yep, dozens.
And they thought
12s.
that your intro was a recording.
Did they really?
You do it so good.
I just, I'm like a broken
just so
record
you
player.
know, that's live every time, people.
Every time. Yeah,
Every time.
It means all you guys are listening, not watching.
Yeah,
That which is perfectly fine. You know,
Yeah.
we don't have like a lot of watchy content, but some people like YouTube.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the
I mean, maybe we got faces for radio.
Every once in a while we'll show, I 100% have a face for radio. 100% I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time
It's not really radio anymore,
I know,
though, is it? What do you call
podcast.
it?
Every time I add something to cover up my face, my wife tells me I get more attractive. You know, it's like the bigger my beard is, the blockier my glasses are, the more hat I wear. It's like, wow, the more you cover up that face, the better looking you
You
are.
got to get you a burqa, man.
Shout out to Steph. yeah. I got
The less I see of you, the more I like you.
Yeah. So
Ouch.
I talked to some folks that were that have been listening to our podcast this weekend, and they want a check-in on our weight loss journey here.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
Let's do
do the weigh-in? How you doing?
Well, I was up this morning.
Yeah.
I ran yesterday, and after a run, it's weird. I don't know why. I'm often up the next day in weight. So I was at 193 today, but I think like realistically, my weight's probably at 192.
And how much is that drop?
That's three at one. It's 2.5 pounds at 193.
Yeah. Have you done your average?
No, I'm starting it today.
Okay.
I
You got to do.
recorded it
Yeah.
today.
That's like a thing.
I've been as low as 191.5.
Okay.
But I think that day I was dehydrated. So I've just decided not to drink any more water. That's the secret to weight loss right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Stop drinking water.
You'll turn to a raisin.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But I'm actually today, that puts me about a half pound behind. So I gotta.
Your goal is a pound a week.
Yeah.
So you're about 2.5 pounds down.
Yeah. But I think I'm about right on target. I think realistically.
You're probably actually lighter than that. Yeah, if you're ever trying to lose weight, folks, you got to average your week.
You do, because you can swing 2 pounds in a day.
You can. Your water weight changes based on so much. Like it changes, if you worked out, you're going to be swollen from that. You're going to be holding a lot of water.
Yeah.
If you ate more carbs the day before, carbs hold water weight.
Well, actually, when I work out really hard sometimes and I'm in a massive deficit, I'll go to this place that God ordained called Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
If I eat Taco Bell, the next day I'm up 2.5 pounds.
You just had 5,000 milligrams of sodium.
Yeah. Yep. You hold water.
Yeah.
You hold water. But I feel good.
You need to refuel. Yeah.
You gotta. If you lose weight too fast, you can slow your metabolism down.
You can.
You'll slow down your weight loss.
Yeah.
And then you'll start eating muscle, which is not so bad when you're like 35. But when you're 50, if you lose muscle
you
mass,
can't get that back,
you
man.
can't hardly get it back.
Yeah.
So I've got to be really careful. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to stick as close to a 500 calorie a day deficit as I can. I would rather get to the end and have to buy you a steak and have lost 13 pounds than lose over and lose muscle I can never get back. That would be terrible.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I want to stay swole.
Yeah. So you got to do the average, because your water weight changes. So you take your 7 days, you weigh yourself every day, and you average the week, and that's what you weighed that week. And so over time, you'll see it move.
Track down.
And
It's like a stock market. It's a trend down is what you want.
Otherwise, yeah. And if you weigh every day and you just look at the chart, it looks like a
EKG or something.
It does. It's just back and forth, back and forth. But if you do your averages, you'll see it progress, and you can actually get a good feel of how you're doing week by week.
Yeah, because your deficit's a guesstimate.
Yeah,
it's a little different for everybody. You might find,
is.
2,000 is not enough calories for me.
Yeah.
I'm losing too fast.
Yeah, people are.
Or you might be like, I'm not moving. I may not be in a good enough calorie deficit.
Yeah, you start with that like, how many calories does my body need to survive and maintain? And that is the guess.
It's a guess.
You have no idea, really. Like, and so you just use a formula it's a good guesstimate.
It varies
to start.
by age, weight,
how much
sex.
muscle you're carrying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
carry it. So
Like
I'm
this
down,
is why
like,
women should. This is why they want to kill us.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
men.
yeah, that's so true.
Because a woman who is my size and weight probably burns 500 calories less a day than me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Women burn way less calories than men.
Yes, I used. Yeah, that's true.
It's sad.
It is.
Sorry, women. Sorry, ladies.
But y'all get to carry more body fat.
Yeah.
A woman needs to stay at 12% body fat.
At least.
At least.
And 12% is ripped.
Yes, 12% is ripped.
Yeah.
If you get below 12%, it can start messing with female issues. Hormones get messed up for females at 12%. A dude can lose down to about 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you're going to start getting weird.
Yeah.
Like you ask any bodybuilder that gets lean to 3% or something, it's miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Oh, man.
Your body is constantly like, put food in your mouth.
me.
Yeah. Put the burrito in the stomach.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm down 7 pounds now.
Dude,
I've lost over 2 pounds a week.
you got to be careful.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, I've been careful. I'm at, like I told you, I've lost a lot of weight
Man,
years
you
ago.
lost twice as much as me. But
But it's weird though. Like the math doesn't seem to be adding up. But I wonder if I was working out a lot more when I started. I was working out like 6 days a week.
yeah.
I wonder if I was swollen more.
Yeah, you can't.
I
I don't think anybody should work out 6 days a week unless you're on trend. Because you can't.
You can do it. Yeah. When I was
4 days a week.
I was fine recovering then. I can't now though on a
Yeah.
deficit.
Oh, you should have seen me running
when I was
yesterday.
maintaining. I could do it. I did a push pull leg split, and I could do it twice a week. And I would just do a rest day in between them, and that gives you 4 days between each.
I've been going to the gym long enough now that I know what days I need to not go.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this ain't a day, man. I need to rest. There's a kind of tiredness. It's like, if I don't rest, I'm going to do more. Your muscles will get smaller if you overwork them.
Yeah, you have to be fueled for
And you
it.
can get hurt.
Yeah. You'll get injured. But so like on a deficit, I can't do 6
No,
days
yesterday
a week. I can do 3 days a week.
Yesterday, if you'd have watched me running on my run, you'd be like, that dude's in a calorie deficit, or he's fixing to die. It was so bad. I was like, truffle shuffle, man. I couldn't move. I was like, oh, I just got to keep my heart rate up for 30 minutes. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Quit being such a weenie.
Don't
and it
be
was
a
like,
weenie, man.
And then it was like, but feed me. So last night I remedied it. One of our community group people brought jalapeno poppers.
Oh, those are delicious, man.
3 of them, dude.
3 of them.
It's just like cream cheese
It's
and
really
bacon
not
down there.
that bad though.
That's what I kept telling myself. And I also ate a little bit of tiramisu.
Oh, y'all, who brought tiramisu?
Denise.
Man,
Shout out to Denise.
Shout out to Denise.
It was like some kind of special tiramisu. I ate a small piece. I don't believe in not eating stuff.
Oh, you gotta eat.
Yeah.
Last night we did it for youth group.
I'm portion control, not like item control.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You won't succeed. Like
No.
Restrictive diets are ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Every once in a while, I'm going to eat that Lindor chocolate.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
You need to. You need room for it.
Oh yeah, but what's good is you can savor it.
Yeah.
Like used to, I just eat 4 of them things. Now I just eat that one. I'm like, oh, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
He lets me have chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think about this like quote about like diets and restrictive diet. So they work.
Mm-hmm.
Like restrictive diet works. Whether it's paleo, carnivore, keto, or something, they work, but none of them work unless you work.
Yeah.
And so like people get on these diets and as soon as they break and they start
Fall off
eating
the wagon.
breads or something,
Yeah.
it's like the whole thing is over. Was
Yeah.
it because you stopped working?
Yeah.
It's not because the diet started. It's like you stopped working.
Yeah.
And so you need a plan that you can actually do.
It's like working out. You have to have a lifestyle change.
Yep. That's right.
And
Yeah, exercise and stuff.
And I think portion control is the easiest lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Just be disciplined and know what's going on.
So last night we had pizza at youth group, which
Glory.
we haven't done in a while.
Yeah.
And it's been a little while since I had pizza. I don't know if it's just been a while or if Domino's like figured
Upped
it out.
its game?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well,
that pizza was incredible.
I do think when you're on a diet, food is better.
Dude, this was top tier pizza.
Oh.
Like Dave Portney would be like, he would be giving him an 8.
Yeah, it was like,
he would have given Domino's an 8
last night. They killed it.
They killed it, man.
Oh,
you know who Dave Portney is?
Yeah, the guy that goes around eating pizza. And it's like, this is not 2 seconds. And at first you're like, this is stupid. And then you listen to him, you're like, I think he knows what he's talking about.
Oh no, he knows he knows
100%.
pizza.
There's a place he went to eat pizza one time. It was this little hole in the wall place. I think he was in Chicago or somewhere. Mm-hmm. And he described that pizza and showed it to me, and I thought, I would drive 4 hours for this piece of pizza. I would love it. Pizza's my favorite to this day.
Oh, I love pizza so
much. I love pizza, man.
It is. It's like, it doesn't love me, though. Like, I'm getting older, and so, dude, it just tears me up, man.
It's like a trampoline, man. The minute it hits the bottom of my stomach, it's trying to bounce back out. But I will get my Tums and my piece of pizza. I will never forsake pizza.
Certain pizza does it way worse to me. Like, Little Caesars and Pizza Hut will kill me. I'll die.
Little Caesars ain't worth it.
Domino's ain't that bad to me. If I moderate, like I did 3 pieces last night and I was fine.
I'm loyal to Domino's. I worked there for years.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Domino's is great.
Best job I ever had.
It's the best of the chains, I think.
Yeah.
That I know of. There might be a different chain out there.
I delivered pizzas for Domino's. I love the Domino's pizza. When I was poor, I ate a lot of Domino's pizza because we'd screw up somebody's order and they'd just give it to us.
Yeah.
And
so shout out to Domino's. They have a new pizza style called,
they are not sponsoring us, by the
way. Called the New York style. Have you had that? Oh my, that's what's so good. It's like it's thin, but it's not like a thin crust, because thin crust is crunchy. This is just thin.
Dude, you're talking to a guy on a diet, man. You're about to kill me.
Good, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Those students ate every single piece last night. It's wild, man. They were ravenous.
They're teenagers.
Yeah, they are teenagers.
Oh yeah, now you
now you're hungry.
No, man. Yeah, I read about I just think about Solomon and stuff, talking about in Proverbs about youth and stuff, and I'm like, man, yeah, being young is so good.
Yeah, it also sucks, man. Like,
well, it does. Well, it's just because you don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the adage. Youth is wasted on the young. It's like, I mean, it's true. Like you're like just boiling potential is what you are when you're young, and
not wise enough to seize it.
No, can't do nothing. Like just full of hormones.
You don't realize when you're 18 years old that it takes 10 years to be good at anything, and that if you'll start now, yeah. Oh well, it does. It takes 10 years to be good at anything.
It does. Like It takes like you have to make the mistakes when you're young. You just have to.
You have to be willing to be bad at something for a long time.
Yep. And
like us on the podcast.
That's right. Yeah, this is episode 33.
What?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
We're crushing.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man.
Yeah.
This is Exodus 30. Oh, it's Exodus 33.
On the 33rd.
On the 33rd episode. Whoa. Mind explosion.
We're not numerologists or anything. This seems special.
This is going to be the best podcast ever. Because of that right there.
Yeah, it's already started out strong.
It has, yeah. All right. So Exodus chapter 32 is another confrontational chapter after this whole, saga of the golden calf. If you didn't listen to last week's episode in chapter 32, Moses comes down off the mountain and he comes down to the nation Israel dancing around and singing around, drunken dancing and singing around a golden calf, worshiping this golden calf that they're calling Yahweh. Yeah. The whole thing is wrecked. This is bad, man. This is not good.
Moses spent all his time interceding for him, went down there and wanted to kill him.
That's right. He was like, Lord, don't do this to them.
What's the first thing he goes, yeah,
first
and he gets down there like, nope, I'm killing them.
We're killing them all.
Yeah.
And not all of them die, actually.
No, he just had to kill some of them.
He really is super merciful in that. Oh, I dropped my little toy here.
It's okay.
I gotta swim with. Super merciful. They all. That's the whole point. Like we just read through the book of the covenant, right? Everyone should die because of their sin. That's what you learn through there. And everyone sins here in chapter 32, but not everyone dies.
Yeah.
And that is mercy, right? It's mysterious. It doesn't tell you much about why why the Lord was it the word I'm looking for? Why he reserves or why he has a remnant, in this kind of stuff. But he does. It's very present. So again in chapter 33, it says, the Lord spoke to Moses, go up from here, you and the people you brought up from the land of Egypt to the land I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I'll give it to your offspring. I will send an angel ahead of you and will drive out the Canaanites. So he's still going to do all this stuff. He's go up to a land flowing with milk and honey. Wow, how nice. He's saying, you're still going to get to do all this, but I will not go up with you because you're a stiff-necked people. Otherwise, I might destroy you on the way. So God's like, you guys can go, but I'm not.
I'm sick of y'all.
I'm sick of you. Y'all go ahead. I promised it to Abraham.
Yeah.
He gets to have it. Y'all
But
get to
I
have
ain't
it.
going.
I'm not going with you.
No, I'm going to send my angel.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. When the people heard this bad news, they mourned and didn't put on their jewelry. I don't know what that's about. But,
Yeah.
What's the deal with the jewelry, Brad?
I don't know, man. They're just in mourning.
Didn't they just throw all their jewelry into a pot to make that?
Well, some of it got ripped off. Remember, he said, tear the rings out of your ears and noses. Maybe, we have traditions of mourning. It can be translated mourning.
Oh, yeah, it is. They mourned.
Yeah, so they mourn. So
didn't
like
put on the jewelry.
we have tradition, like not as much anymore, but if you go to a funeral, you generally wear black.
That's kind of going away now.
Yeah, it is,
Like,
actually.
You see the closest family wearing black, but what we've been to a ton of funerals, people.
We're
Golly.
ministers. We
Yeah.
go a lot.
But what I've seen in the last decade or so is that it's a little bad form for people who don't know the person well to be wearing black like that. It's a little like,
But we do still
offensive.
dress up.
You dress up.
You dress up.
And
Yep.
but you'll see the closest family only wearing black. But it used to be everyone wore black.
Yeah,
You know?
and it used to be you wore black for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
But so I think that's what this is. I think it's like a sign of mourning. You don't get dressed up.
Yeah.
And so you kind of the opposite of what we do. You don't get flashy. So I think that's what it means when they don't put on their ornaments. It's sort of like their version of wearing black.
Seems sincere, man.
Yeah.
Maybe they realized they screwed up.
They
you
did.
know? Yeah.
They
Well, I mean, they just saw a bunch of people get killed because
Yeah.
of it. So, yeah.
man, we screwed up. What's funny is there's like 1 million of them.
Yeah.
And if there's that many people, not everybody even knows what's going on.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Probably didn't all participate.
No, they definitely didn't.
1 million is a huge number.
Huge
of people.
number. Yeah.
Like you've never seen 1 million people gathered
You've
together.
never.
Yeah.
Well, they had.
Oh, think of like a football game, massive football. That's what,
Yeah.
50,000 people?
Yeah, maybe 100,000.
Yeah,
Massive stadium.
10 times that.
10 times that.
Right.
Yeah, they've had a couple of times in D.C. in protests where
yeah?
they've had maybe 1 million people gather, and they cover the entire Washington, D.C. lawn area. It's just people for miles.
Yeah. So most people have never seen that many people.
No.
This is a crazy big.
Crazy big.
Yeah, and there's no PA systems,
No.
microphones and stuff. So
And some people just ain't social. They're not going down there.
That's
They're like,
right.
what is going on over there? And like, I
Yeah.
don't know, man. People are
only 3,000 people are killed.
Yeah.
In that initial when the Levites pull out their swords and stuff, and so it probably wasn't everything. But what you see in the nation Israel is that they're all kind of held responsible.
Yeah, they are. It's a collective.
They have a mutual responsibility for one another, and that kind of persists all the way until you get the king, and then he becomes kind of responsible for them. And where he goes, so goes the nation. Kind of thing,
yeah.
He's the one who's responsible.
Yeah.
But right now, they're all kind of responsible for each other.
Yeah, and they're fixing to go into the land.
Yep, that's right. So for the Lord said to Moses in verse 5, tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. That's the second time we've heard that.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Brad? Being stiff-necked?
Stiff-necked. It's a colloquialism.
Is it in the Hebrew like that? It is.
It is. It says stiff-necked. It's a, we might say
hard-necked.
Yeah, we might say he's stubborn as a mule.
Yeah.
And somebody who doesn't know English and heard that, they wouldn't have that saying. So stiff-necked meant you can't turn them.
Yeah.
When they're going a direction.
Yeah.
So a stiff neck, you think about, you're trying to drive a horse, right? Try to drive a horse. Lord have mercy. You're riding a horse, you got reins in the mouth, right?
Yeah.
And so you try to pull on the right rein to make him go right, and he won't turn.
Yeah.
Like no matter how hard you turn that thing, he's a stiff-necked horse. So it's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, I can't go with you because you're stiff-necked. I can't turn you.
Is the
And that's
neck
also
in there?
interesting,
Yeah.
like with repentance is, to turn, right?
That's right.
So he's like, I can't turn you. If I go with you, you're stiff-necked.
You're obstinate.
I can't turn you. Obstinate is a translation. That's what you got to. So this is a good translation moment, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're on a committee and you're translating stuff, and you hit this word stiff-necked.
Yeah.
And you realize, in English, stiff-necked doesn't make any sense.
Oh, there is a translation with obstinate.
Yeah.
NASB.
NASB.
Yeah. How about that?
So what they do is they say, look, if we put this 1-to-1 into English, nobody's going to know what it means. They're going to be like, what's stiff-necked?
Yeah.
And it means stubborn or
Yeah.
obstinate.
Yeah.
So let's just do that work for them and put obstinate.
Yeah.
But that's a decision that the translators make, and they do that sometimes. And it's okay.
Well, it's kind of weird that it's NASB. If you don't
Because
know, dear
NASB
listener,
normally doesn't do that.
yeah, NASB is known as what's called like a word for word translation, and it's kind of MO is that it is difficult to read in English,
Yeah.
because it maintains the Hebrew and Greek
The
colloquialisms.
one for one as much as they can.
And so it's kind of interesting
For
that
example,
they translate it.
If you look at the old King James and others that try to be more literal one for one, it'll say, and Jesus lifted up his voice and said, and then it's like, that just means he shouted.
Yeah.
And so some of them will say, and Jesus shouted. And then people get kind of bent out of shape sometimes, like, that's not what it says. It says lifted up his voice and said. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, but it means shouted.
Yeah.
We're doing translation work here.
Yeah.
All that to say, the people who are translating into English, it's not an easy job.
No, it's very difficult, man.
I tell people that all the time, and anybody and Americans don't understand because you know what you call somebody that speaks 3 languages? Trilingual.
Oh yeah.
You know what you call somebody that speaks 2 languages? Bilingual.
Yeah.
And you know what you call somebody that speaks 1 language?
American.
Yeah,
That's so true. It's so true.
So like, if you have facility with 2 languages, you understand that you have to make decisions in translations.
Yeah.
Like some things just don't translate right.
Yeah, like stiff-necked might not. It is in English. We still maintain stiff-necked as like kind of a stubborn.
Well, we took
idiom.
it.
We took it from the Hebrew.
It went into our language because
from the
people were
Bible.
Bible-y.
Yeah,
there's
from the Bible.
There's a lot of stuff in English because of the King James and because of the translations.
But if you were to translate stiff-necked into maybe Chinese or something, you might have to go with obstinate, their version of obstinate, stubborn, or something.
It gets harder than that.
Yeah, because it's an idiom. It's kind of difficult.
Yeah, let's say you're in Swaziland or somewhere, and you're translating the Bible into the local tribal languages, and Jesus says, "I am the bread of life." And you realize these people have never had bread. They don't have wheat on the whole. They don't have wheat for 550 miles.
Yeah.
So how do we tell these people Jesus is the bread of life? Or behold, the Lamb of God.
They
ain't never seen a lamb.
Yeah.
They don't know what a lamb is.
Yeah.
What are you going to put? How you going to do? There's so much
They
education.
only
that goes
eat
on.
lizards.
Or
he's
they
the
live-
lizard of life.
Well, their livestock. In North America, there was no domesticated livestock. Or all they have are pigs, and maybe that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they've ever
So some of
domesticated.
those, like you would make a decision maybe to like go with something else, but most of them, the decision they end up going with is just to leave it and to transliterate it for them.
Well,
and explain. We just gotta. You can't. It's hard to get away from a lamb.
let me just say this, and I'll get done with it.
Yeah.
Where the Bible goes, and people do the work of translation, missionaries of the gospel have gifted to tribes not only the Bible, but a written language. Because a lot of these places had no written language.
Yeah.
So first the missionary invents an alphabet for them phonetically. Then they teach them to read their own words. And then they translate the Bible for them, and they begin to read. And they say, well, what is a lamb? They say, well, it's this. So imagine the amount of education. Everybody always thinks of the missionaries as a bunch of dirty colonizers, and they're terrible. And yet,
I like missionaries.
No, but I mean, that's what they say.
I know, the wider world.
We're horrible people because we taught them an alphabet, gave them a language, taught them to read books, taught them about the wider world beyond their area.
Yeah.
It's really magnificent what they've done.
Yeah, it is.
They gave them things like antibiotics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all that to say, stiff-necked is a colloquialism.
It is. It means stubborn.
Yep.
Right. Y'all are stubborn. Tell the Israelites you're stubborn.
Yeah.
If I went up with you for a single moment, I would destroy you. That's what the Lord says. One single moment, Brad.
Oh, man.
Now take off your jewelries. I leave it off, right?
Yeah.
And I will decide what to do with you. So the Israelites remained stripped of their jewelry from Mount Horeb onward.
Yeah.
Right. So what is that? What's the deal with the jewelry, man?
I think it's like he's like, stay in mourning. You should be sorry.
Oh yeah. It's not time to celebrate yet.
No,
Yeah.
I'm still mad.
Yeah.
I'm still mad.
Man, God is not pleased with this, man.
No.
And he doesn't want to go with him. Now, Moses.
I can't leave you alone for 5 minutes.
It's exactly right. That's what this
100%.
is. This is Saturday morning.
Yep.
Mom and dad walk out into the living room and it's a wreck. And there's like, sprinkles everywhere and glitter everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, look, we're going to go, Mommy and Dad's going in here and have a talk. It's Saturday morning, whatever you say. And then you're like, whatever you do, don't get in the cereal. We're going to make breakfast, all right? Don't. And you come out and there's doggone Cinnamon Toast Crunch everywhere.
Yeah.
Half a gallon of milk spilled on the floor. And it's in their hair and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we got hungry. It's like, can't leave you alone for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. So now Moses took a tent and pitched it outside the camp. Okay, at a distance from the camp. This is outside, man. You got to walk out here.
Yeah, I got to get out.
He called it the tent of meeting.
Yeah.
Anyone who wanted to consult the Lord would go to the tent of meeting that was outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people would stand up, each one at the door of his tent, and they would watch Moses until he entered the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. They're like hoping and praying Moses will do something about this.
Yeah.
They're like awesome, like a million people just sitting there watching, like, what's about to happen, man?
Yeah. Yeah, I know it. They're just camped out in the wilderness. There's like, some people like hiking.
I do.
Well, you're in the minority of people
That like hiking?
Oh yeah.
I love hiking.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a.
That's probably like, there was probably 50,000 people who were very excited to be camping every single day in the wilderness, but there's 950,000 people in there. It's like, man, I would like to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that one guy's like, I don't mind eating this manna every day. It's pretty cool. It's nice out here. And they're like, I want to get a house. I would like to not be in a tent for the rest of my life.
For sure. Yeah. When are we going to get to go into this promised land? Milk and honey.
Milk and honey sounds delicious.
Yeah.
And I'm on a diet right now. Boy, I could eat some milk and honey. I don't know.
There's a great song I found the other day called Milk and Honey. By a guy named, it's a band called Swingin' Hammers. I don't know where you get the name. But, dude, great music, man.
Band names
awesome music.
maybe is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's just sitting around trying to make up a goofy name for a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like it's just himself. Like, it seems like self-produced. I think he did it all like himself.
Yeah.
And Swinging Hammers, Milk and Honey. Y'all look it up. It's good. It's about the trip into the promised land.
Oh, yeah.
About this. And so this is like good Christian music.
Have you ever eaten milk and honey?
I've had Honey Nut Cheerios.
That's a honey of an O. It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah.
I love Honey Nut Cheerios.
I actually like off-brand Honey Nut Cheerios better than the Cheerio brand.
I'll have to try it. I won't judge.
There's something strange about the Cheerio flavor. I don't know what. It's kind of weird. You have like the Walmart brand. It's like, oh man, these are really good. This is fantastic. And you have like the name brand. It's like, what is that flavor
I can
in
eat
this?
some Honey Nut Cheerios right now.
You're on a diet. No.
I know, man. Every time somebody says something about food, I'm like, boy, that sounds good.
Yeah.
My anniversary was this weekend.
Tell us about it, man.
Not diet.
You did no. You can't diet on an
Let me
anniversary.
tell you, everybody out here, this is great. This is what happens when you've been married 22 years and you might be kind of old. So we had reservations at a very
I love this
fancy restaurant, 7:45 p.m. We never do this. You have to make reservations, right? And so we thought, well, we'll go to Huntsville early and we'll shop and then we'll go eat. We were, holding hands. We love each other still.
Aw.
Yeah. And so we shopped, man. We were shopped out by
Where'd y'all
6
go
o'clock.
to shop?
A Fleet Feet. I got some new shoes, man.
Nice. What'd you get?
I got some Brooks Ghost for running.
Can't hide money.
Can't hide it. Look, I'm a pretty cheapskate on most things, but I run a lot.
Dude, if you run in cheap shoes, you're gonna buy shoes next week.
And also, I'm bad to get shin splints.
Yeah,
so
Brooks are great. I love Brooks.
I tried on every pair.
Yeah.
Cause I always go back to Brooks.
Brooks and Ultras, I think, man, they just they fit so good.
And yeah, the girl was like, "Hey," the person that was helping me. She said, "What do you want?" I said, "I need a pair of running shoes," which I know to her is like, "Oh no," 'cause it's like 97 pair. I wanted to see what she would recommend.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, look, I need a neutral shoe, but I don't want to tell you because she said, what do you normally wear?" I said, "I don't want to tell you because I would like to see what you recommend."
I like neutral too.
And so she comes and brings me 3 or 4 pairs. And she's like, "This one has a wider toe box." And I said, "Do I need a wider toe box?" She said, "Do you think you need a wider toe box?" I'm like, "I don't know. How would I know?
Yeah.
What happens?" Anyway, I went with the Brooks.
Yeah.
So we were shopped
Brooks
out.
have a wider toe box than most brands do.
So I don't like a real squishy shoe. And I feel like I'm going to turn my ankle, especially if I run off trail, on the trail.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like by 6:15, we're shopped out. We don't care anymore because we don't really shop. We buy.
Yeah.
We know what we're going for, right?
Yeah.
And so it's 6:15, and we're starving. We are starving to death. And it's like, man, our reservation's not till 7:45. This is where it gets funny. So we're like, let's look forward to it. What kind of appetizers do they have? And I've been on a diet. I'm ready to eat some. And we're both like, we're going to get some fried mushrooms. We love fried mushrooms. And we look it up, and this fancy place is like foie de gras. And it was like a wedge of cabbage for appetizers and a bunch of stuff. We didn't even speak the language because apparently we're rednecks. And I was like, I don't want to eat any of this stuff. Asparagus hearts? Dear listeners, okay, maybe this is a cultural thing. Who reads asparagus hearts and is like, oh, we got to get some of those? Like, who does that?
I'd try it.
I'd try it, but I'm not going to go spend $20 for an asparagus heart when I could have fried mushrooms for 10. So I'm like, so we look at these things and like, and we don't want to admit we're not cultured. Nobody wants to admit that they're a redneck. And I looked at it, and she looked at it, and I said, "Do you actually want to eat any of these appetizers?" She's like, "No." I said, "Well, let's look at the dessert menu." And we looked on there, and it was some weird stuff too. There ain't no cheesecake on there. I'm like, what? I said, "You want to just cancel reservations, go to Outback?" She's like, "Yes." So we went we just canceled, and we went to Outback, and we ate fried mushrooms, man. And I got me a bone-in ribeye steak, 18 ounces.
Whew.
Ate every bite. Except for the bone. I didn't eat that part.
Yeah, don't eat the bone.
I ate the fried mushrooms. I ate the salad with the ranch. I got the ranch on the side. I dipped. So
You dip?
I did.
Steph dips her salad
I
also.
did. Well, you don't eat as much ranch because
Yeah.
because I'm in diet brain. I'm like, this is what does that have to do with the Bible?
I don't know.
What am I talking about?
I can't remember how we got on that.
I don't know,
I
man.
like the story. Did you have dessert?
No, I was too full.
Really?
We were like, you want? We thought we'll let it settle. And we'll go to Cold Stone. Halfway home, we're like, we ain't going to Cold Stone.
Our dessert, if we're like doing stuff like that, is nothing bundt cakes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because you can get those little mini ones.
Yeah.
You just go get one of those.
Yeah, man. I
So
didn't
good.
have any.
You're just fooled up, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I should say this on the podcast. I didn't want to get Amy too full.
Oh yeah, you don't want to get too full.
I don't want to get too full.
Anniversary.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And Zoe was spending the night somewhere. I don't know. Oh, I hope Amy don't listen to this one. I love you. I'm sorry.
Obviously.
Clearly,
Yeah.
33, 22 years, whatever. Yeah.
You should. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
good.
I was thinking about that, though.
The Lord, I think the Lord likes that.
Yeah.
So.
I was like, let's don't get too full. We don't
All
want
right.
to fall asleep when we get home.
Yep. Well, we got plans. We got to stay up a little bit. All right. So let's keep on reading.
Yeah, let's go back to the Bible.
So as all the people saw, okay, where was I? Verse 9. When Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and remain at the entrance to the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. As all the people saw the pillar of cloud remaining at the entrance to the tent, they would stand up, then bow and worship, each one at the door of his tent. The Lord would speak with Moses face to face, just as a man speaks with his friend. Then Moses would return to the camp. His assistant to the young man Joshua, son of Nun, would not leave the inside of the tent. How about that, man?
How about that?
So he's speaking face to face. That's
Yeah.
important for what happens next.
Yeah. Face to face. Yeah, we're going to find out it is, but it's not.
That's the literal translation. This is face to face, right?
Yes.
From the Hebrew. And verse 12, this next section of it, when this gets kind of interesting. Moses said to the Lord, "Look, you've told me, lead this people up, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor with me. Now, if I have indeed found favor with you, please teach me your ways, and I will know you, so that I may find favor with you." Favor and grace, right? So I can be.
I like this next line. Consider too that this nation is your people.
Yeah.
Because when God's mad at them, it's just like we talked about before.
Yeah.
He keeps saying, "This people you brought up, your
Yeah.
people, your people," and every once in a while, Moses like, "Hey, remember now, these are your people too."
Moses is trying to get God to come with him again.
Yes,
is what he's trying to do. He's like, "What are you going to do? How can I re-ingratiate myself to you? How can we re-ingratiate ourselves to you, Lord? Like, what can we do here?"
Yeah.
And God's answer to that is not to tell them to do anything.
No.
He just says, and the Lord, he replied, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." Man,
Yeah.
just because he asked.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
'cause he asked.
Just because he asked.
Yeah.
That's nice, man.
Yeah. Well, what I find also funny is like after God says, "I'll go with you," Moses didn't say, "You're not going to get mad and kill us, are
He
you?"
keeps on talking.
Yeah, he's like, "You're not going to get mad." Because God said, "If I go with you even 10 feet, I'm going to kill all of you."
He does say that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Moses is like, "Well, go with us." And the Lord's like, "Okay." Like, well, you're not going to.
Wait a second. Wait, what? Are you
You're not going to kill us, right?
So verse 15 says, "If your presence does not go," Moses responded to him, "don't make us go up from here. How will it be known that I and your people have found favor with you unless you go with us? I and your people will be distinguished by this from all the other people on the face of the earth." The Lord answered Moses, "I will do this very thing you have asked, for you have found favor with me, and I know you by name." Then Moses said, "Please let me see your glory." And so he's already speaking to him face to face. So what's the difference between seeing God face to face and seeing his glory?
Yeah. Well, let's see how to put this. So in it seems weird, but throughout the Bible there is this idea of seeing and not seeing, hearing and not hearing. And so so like when it says he spoke to a man as a friend speaks to a friend face to face, it doesn't mean literally God was seeing him face to face, that he was like seeing God's full glory. And Moses wanted to see that.
Well, explain the glory thing. I think it's always something important to explain because remember, like there's just like this misconception sometimes about what glory is, like it's brightness or something.
Yeah,
you know?
I literally. So we did Psalm 115 in chapel this week. I had drill this weekend.
Oh, nice.
And one of them is the first verse of that is not to us, O God, but to your name alone be the glory. And so the question I ask is, what is glory? What does it mean to give glory?
Yeah.
And to give glory is to acknowledge the greatness, the truth of something's greatness. You give the glory to it. So if you see something good and you say, "Hey, Justin, that is good," you're giving the glory that's due to it.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like Moses saying, "Show me all of your goodness. Show me everything about you. I want to see you." That's what he's asking.
Yeah.
That's what I think he's asking.
And that's not what he was experiencing before.
No, he's not seeing the fullness.
He was communicating.
He was communicating.
He was talking.
He was not seeing God. They didn't see him when he was above them, eating with them.
No.
You can see God and not see all of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like this. I mean, he's like condescending. This goes back to the
condescending, not in the bad way.
Yeah, this is like the water table way, right?
Yeah,
you know, the water thing.
Yeah.
Condescension.
Yeah.
It condenses.
He's
coming
stooping.
down.
He's stooping a little
low
bit.
and God does that over and over again. He
Mm-hmm.
he comes to us and meets us where we are. And that's kind of what's going on here. And Moses is like, "Well, let me come up to you."
Yeah.
Like I want to come. I want to know you, without the condescension involved, right?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, maybe it'd be like if you were standing in front of a light that had infinite power, and you'd never seen a light bulb before, and they turn it on and it lights up the room. You're like, "Man, this is awesome! I can see the whole room now in the dark." And then you said, "Turn it all the way on," and the guy said, "I can't. If I turn this light all the way on, you'll go blind.
Yeah.
It will blind you, and the heat off of it will consume you." So on the one hand, you've seen the light, but you can't see all of it. It'll
Yeah.
kill you.
Yep.
And so when Moses has seen God's glory, he's seen a bit. It might be like that light sort of illustration. He's seen a bit, and he liked what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, show me all of it. And God's like, I can't show you all of it.
Yeah. Isn't that an interesting thing to think
Yeah.
about? Because he's experiencing God,
Yeah.
right? I don't know, dear listener, if you think of God this way, as like something that you've beheld and seen and you want more of.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I don't know. That's not a way we talk about God often.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we don't. And in fact, when you start talking about it, it is way more philosophically complex than you might at first think.
yeah,
Because we talk about the dialectics or how we speak of God language. Is it when we say God is love, you might think in your brain that's a one-to-one correspondence. I love, and therefore I know what God's love is. But the church fathers of old, especially Augustine or Augustine, if you're educated, would say no. We always speak of God in analog. It's like so. The love I feel is not the love God feels. There's a connection there, but it's not exactly the same.
Similar but not the same.
Similar but not the same.
Yeah.
There's a real connection, but that doesn't mean when you say God is love that you think your feeling of love is an exact equivalent to what God does when he loves.
yeah. It's obviously not.
It's not. But
because you won't do some of the things
but
God will do.
you can't push that so far to say, well, then there's no connection.
Yeah.
Because when I say love, what I mean by love is not the same thing God means. Then maybe I don't know what God's love is at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's an analog, there's a connection here, but it's not one to one. And so we're seeing bits,
Yeah.
but not the full. And here's another mind blower. Let's say everybody listening dies and goes to heaven, which we hope. We don't want you to die too fast, but I'm just saying one day you're going to die and you go to heaven. You will never see all of God's glory.
Yeah.
Not in 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
You will see more and more, and you'll know maybe 1,000,000 times more than we know now. But because God is infinite and we're finite, we will spend all of eternity learning more.
Yeah.
And so when he says, show me your glory, I want to see it. And God's like, I can't show you all of it. You won't live.
Yeah,
It will
well, that's what he
smash
said. We
you.
haven't read that part yet.
Oh, I got excited.
Yeah, you got ahead of us.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. But before we get that, I think his question alone, or his request, let me see your glory, is really fascinating too, because it shows how extraordinary Moses is. He's different than the rest of the nation, and he's a different person, different character. Spiritually, he does stand above the rest because he's the only one asking that.
Yeah.
Everyone else wants more distance.
Yeah.
You know, like this is something that happens earlier on in the story. Is like every time they see a little bit more of God, they're like, Moses, you
Go
deal with
away,
it.
we'll die.
Yeah. We're going to get out of here. We're going to back up.
Yeah.
Moses, you go deal with him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of even like what's happening here. They're all watching
And worshiping.
and this is, and it says anyone can come into this tent of meeting. It says that.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who is.
Yeah.
And so it's Moses is different. He sees God as someone someone that he wants to go meet with.
Yeah.
And get to know more.
Yeah.
And
Did you think what I said about glory was good?
Yeah.
And seeing his goodness.
seeing his goodness, his completeness
I think
and
glory, man, when we talk about glory,
stuff. It's hard to get past the churchiness of the word.
yes.
And because it almost is invisible. It's like an invisible word in our vernacular.
Yes.
you know?
So like here's what really bugs me about stuff like glory. It actually has no meaning for people because they've never thought about what it actually means.
That's what I mean. That's invisible.
It's a placeholder for an unknown.
Yep.
And they don't think about it. And what I mean by that is like if you say the holiness of God, it does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you the church might go in there saying holy, 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 and you say, okay, stop the music. This guy, what does holy mean? He'd be like, set apart. He wouldn't know. It'd be a blank there. And so
it's a hard thing
even though
to
we've been
jump.
talking about it since if you grew up in church,
because you don't use the word. Like it's a word that both of them are almost exclusively used in Bible conversations.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
and nobody wants to feel stupid and be like, I actually don't know what it means to be holy.
Yeah. The both of those. There's other ones too. Years ago I did a series called Christianese about
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Because it's like it's just a thing that happens where we have these words and they're so important and to get your head wrapped around when you read it in scripture, when you sing it in a song, to know what it means, that are completely invisible.
We
for some
blow
reason.
by stuff
all the time.
on purpose. Not necessarily even on purpose. We just kind of assume we know what it means until somebody like tries to make you put your finger on it.
Yeah.
Say, what does it mean to be holy?
Yeah.
What does glory mean?
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday morning in church with the prophecy,
Yeah.
prophesying.
What does that mean?
Because if you just say prophesy,
They think predict the future.
predict the future.
That's not what
in
it is.
21st century
Yeah.
English, it does mean that.
Yep.
That's the big problem is like if you're watching a show on Netflix or something and there's like a prophet or something, it's a fantasy show or something.
Yeah.
It means predicting the future.
Yes.
But in the Bible, it doesn't mean that.
No, it does occasionally.
It's a facet of it
Yes.
when the prophecy is predictive.
Yes. So prophecy is God telling his person his will.
It's will.
And his
Yep.
job
Yep.
is to go repeat that will to the people.
Yep.
And sometimes prophecy's future telling is involved because they'll say, hey, if you don't repent of this thing,
Yep.
in 40 days, God is going to kill you.
Yep.
And so that was very specific.
I know, but that happens.
That's
That
what,
is- yeah,
that's
it's
what
in
it is.
there.
It's like
Yeah.
you're on a clock,
Yep.
and this is how he's going to do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's people, but people get
When they
fascinated
think
with
about prophecy, they think Nostradamus.
yes, but it's not that.
That's not what the Bible is doing with that. Yeah.
But it's so annoying in a way because if you understand prophecy correctly, you can be Nostradamus. And what I mean by that is, if you got a kid in your room and he says, "Hey, I think I'm going to go try crystal meth," you can say to him,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
man, if you do that, it's going to jack up your brain. You're going to pull the skin off your own
Yeah.
face. Your teeth are going to fall
Yeah.
out." And they go, "No, I won't." And then in a year, all of those things happen. They're like, "Oh, you predicted the future."
Yeah.
It's like, that's the consequence.
Yeah.
And so that's what prophets do. They're like, thus says the Lord, do this stuff and you'll be blessed.
Yeah.
Don't do these things and judgment will come. And here's how it's going to come. He's going to whistle for Babylon. They're going to come down here and kill you, and they're going to take you into captivity, and you're going to eat your own children during the siege. It's going to be awful.
yeah.
And that's what, so prophecy,
That's what prophecy is. Yeah.
So I like
it's the
to
will
tell,
of God. Yep.
I like to tell people the prophet is the person who hears from God and then tells the people what God said. And the priest goes before God on behalf of the people. It's the other direction.
Yeah.
So a priest is making an offering up to God. Sometimes it's the same person. So the priest will go in there, make an offering, and God might say, "Tell my people that I'm glad they're here," and everybody stand up and shake hands, or whatever. So it's going both ways. So priestly work is toward God on behalf of souls, and then prophetic work is going from God to the people. And the reason prophets were so big in the Old Testament and they're not in the New is because they didn't have the Bible.
Yeah. And they are in the new.
Yeah, they are.
There's some. But it's like when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is like way less like mystical than I would have imagined. It's
But not less important.
not less important, but less mystical.
It's
certainly.
not like people are just wandering around and God's like, "Hey, Justin, go tell everybody to invest in." I'm not even going to say something. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, this guy that's popped up in the Middle East, he must be the Antichrist or something.
Yeah.
And the world's coming to an end."
It's in the book of Acts. It's like determining who's going on mission.
Yes.
Who's going to be our missionary to this town.
Yes.
They're and they're that's what the prophets do in the Acts. Like,
But-
who's going where?
But it's early, right? It's in Acts. We haven't got 1 John, 2 John. We haven't got Colossians. We haven't got Philippians. We haven't got any of that stuff. And the more
it's in Corinthians, which is early also.
the earliest book in the New Testament.
Yeah. Galatians, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, but it's like 50 AD.
Yeah.
But so the more New Testament we get, the less it talks like that.
Yeah.
Because instead of having to, early on they're casting lots to see who the next apostle is.
Yep.
And by the time it gets to Paul in 1 Timothy, which is near the end, he's like, here's how you pick them out and know and prophesy. Okay.
Yeah.
You find out somebody that wants to do the job.
Yeah.
And if they have good sense and they're not immoral and the church recognizes they have an ability to teach, then it's God's will for them to do the thing they want.
That's right.
That's it.
Be a pastor.
Yeah,
Whatever.
go be a
an
pastor.
elder. Yeah.
And so so now we can the way we prophesy, I guess you'd say, in our New Testament era is to teach people the Bible.
Yeah,
that's how we teach people God's will.
And like, you know,
but Moses didn't have it.
Yeah, that's right. Moses didn't have that, and so he's a prophet of the Lord. He's, you know, in Deuteronomy.
That's it. So Moses is called a prophet. How many times did he predict the future?
Once. He says there will be a prophet like Moses who comes. Right?
Yes, that is his prophecy.
That's his one
as far
prophecy.
As future telling.
Yep.
God is going to raise up another one like me.
Yep.
Listen to that.
You just
guy.
used prophecy as future. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
You did it. It just happens. You know? So that's the only prediction he makes.
Yes.
Elijah and Elisha never make a prediction.
Yeah. Is that true?
They do some conditional
do some miracles. But
they do lots of miracles. They do some conditional do this or you're going to die
probably
kind of stuff.
The biggest
you know?
future teller is Isaiah.
Isaiah is a big Ezekiel. Jeremiah. The major prophets do some future telling.
Yeah. But they're all telling the same thing.
All the same. It's
and
always about the Messiah.
They're reading each other.
Yep.
They are. They're reading each other.
They know what's coming.
Yeah. So sometimes they're not predicting because God whispered to them. It's like, hey, man, I read Isaiah. Yeah. And this is what Isaiah said.
Yeah, that's
this
right.
is what's going to happen.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I read Moses.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Moses said if you don't keep the covenant, he's going to do this stuff. Yeah. And we haven't kept the covenant for like 1,000 years.
When Jesus is born, the prophet, what's the prophet? The prophetess.
Anna.
Yeah. You know, what does she say about Jesus? Do you remember? She doesn't go on and predicting things, right?
What's the priest there that circumcises Jesus?
Luke 2.
I'm losing my brain. It's not Phineas. What's his name?
Simeon.
Simeon. That's
Simeon.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Master, and so this is the prophecy, his prophetic praise.
Yeah.
He took now, Master, you can dismiss your servant in peace as you promised. For my eyes have seen your salvation. You have prepared it in the presence of all peoples, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and glory to your people Israel. He's just speaking what is happening.
Yeah, and he's actually quoting from Isaiah.
Yeah. That's right.
He's repeating something Isaiah said.
That's right. She did she? I don't think Anna actually said anything.
No, I think she does. She says something like,
"She didn't
yay.
say things though." She at the very moment she came up and began to thank God and to speak about Him to all who were looking forward to.
Yeah, she said, "Yay."
Yeah, basically said, "Awesome." Right.
Yeah, the Messiah's here.
Yeah. She's talking about the will of God. This is the truth, right? So that's kind of what's going on there. How did we get on prophecy? I don't know.
We're talking about Christianese.
We're talking about weird words. Glory is one of these, right?
Yeah.
And so let's finish up this passage. Please let me see your glory, the fullness of God. He wants to see every bit of God, right? Even though you can't do that in a billion years,
but
right?
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know that. He's learning.
Yeah.
God said, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? All of the glory is going to pass in front, and I will proclaim the name, the Lord Yahweh, before you. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. But he added, you cannot see my face, for humans cannot see me and live. Mm-hmm. It'll toast you, man. The Lord said, here's my place. Here's a place near me. You are to stand on the rock, and when my glory passes by, I will put you in the crevice of the rock and cover you with my hand until I've passed by. Then I'll take my hand away, and you will see my back, but my face will not be seen.
Yeah.
Right. And this is where we get the hymn "Rock of Ages." You know,
cleft for me.
Yeah, beloved hymn.
Yeah.
It comes from this passage, right? How neat is that? He just gets to see his back.
That's funny. In King James, it says the hinder parts of his glory.
The hinder parts, yeah. King James language is so funny, man.
I know it.
Yeah. So, this is a grace and mercy of God. Man, it's so wild. Like you read this
he
story.
does it too.
He does, yeah. Exactly.
And he comes by proclaiming his name. And doesn't the mountain like shake and stuff? I can't remember.
He gets new stone tablets, and where's it actually? Where does it say? Where does it talk through what ends up happening?
Yeah. Where does he actually do that?
It just talks about his radiant face at the end, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what happens, yeah.
Oh, man, Paul goes nuts on these passages.
He does, yeah. We'll have to talk about that next time. Mm-hmm. We're running out of time now. So give us the big deal of chapter 33, Brad. Put it in a nutshell for us, man.
So the big deal, again, I think, is intercession.
Yeah.
Israel knows they done messed up.
Yeah.
God commands them to go into a time of mourning, which, just so you know, Christian, sometimes you should too. If you screw up, you should mourn it.
Yeah, you should feel bad about it.
I'm dead serious, man.
Yeah.
We act like you just go down
You should
to the
mourn
front.
your sin.
Yeah, you should mourn your sin and understand the consequence of it,
Yeah.
and that it may not be able to be undone. So mourning your
Forgiven,
sin-
yes, but
forgiven, yes, but like fasting is a natural reaction to mourning. If somebody close to you dies or something terrible happens, you just naturally have no appetite.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. Like, I've screwed up so bad I don't even want to eat no more.
yeah.
So the big deal is intercession here. They know that they've messed up. Moses goes into the tent of meeting. God's like, I can't go with you guys 10 feet. I'm going to kill all of you. And Israel's like, yep, he should. We was gone for 25 minutes and we made a golden calf. And we literally said yesterday we wouldn't do that. And we did it. And golly. So they're all mourning and they were just anticipating what's going to happen. And Moses kind of goes in there and he's like, hey.
Could you not?
Could you please go with us?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, please go with us. We don't know who this angel is. And that's pretty much what he says.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't know. If you don't go with us, we're just not going. I don't know what else to say. I'm not going if you don't go.
Yeah.
So tell us how to get back with you. What do I need to do? Show me how to know you so that we can please you. And God's like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah. And it's like he doesn't get more instructions.
No, he's like, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
I'll go.
It's mercy.
It's mercy. And it's mercy. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go. I won't kill you this time. But he also knows what's coming. What's funny
He
is
does, yeah.
God plays it close to the vest. He's like, I'll go with you in the land. And he just looks over at the Archangel Michael. And Michael don't know. And Michael's like, yay. And he's like, they're not going to go, dude. It's like, I tried not to go with them. Because I know what they're going to do when we get there. They're going to go in there and they're going to say it's a bunch of giants in the land. They look like grasshoppers on the
Yeah,
side. They're going to turn around and come back. And then I'm going to say, well, you can't go in. And they're going to go, no, sorry, we screwed up. We'll go in.
I'll take it back.
No, don't go in. I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I promise you, God putting his hand over this cleft of the rock, every time I think about God, I'm not trying to do a second commandment violation or whatever, make an image. But if I did in my brain, God is always face palming because no matter what he says,
Yeah.
we don't listen.
Yeah.
The big deal is that when we don't, and you go and you intercede, like, God, please be merciful. We are so stupid. And he's like, okay.
You think about it like this. If you knew someone
Yeah.
that got to talk to God face to face, and
Yeah.
you knew that was happening.
Yes.
You saw miracles. You saw this crazy stuff. You knew
Yeah,
this was
yeah, yeah.
happening. Man, like your expectation is you would do every single thing that person said.
You'd think you would.
You would think.
But you don't.
You
They
don't.
don't.
That's the point of this. Like they do not.
You know what?
And even if you met God
Yes.
as a person on this world,
Yes.
would you do everything he said?
No.
They don't.
Because
Because it happens with Jesus.
Well, it
you know?
happens with Jesus like 50 times worse than Moses.
Yeah.
They
They know he's the Messiah. They know he's God.
Nick,
and they
yep.
and they deny him. Peter denies him
I know.
right after as he dies.
He
on the
literally
cross,
at the end, I can't remember which gospel it is. I have to look it back up. I think it might be Luke. It says, and Jesus ascended to heaven before them in their sight, and some of them worshiped, but some still doubted.
Yeah. Here's what it means. You're gonna need something new. You're
Yeah.
gonna need a new heart. You're gonna need God to intervene. This is the only way you're getting saved.
Yeah.
This is the only way you're saved
look
from your
at Gideon,
foolishness.
it's constant.
Yeah.
It's like, Gideon, go and deliver your people. I will be with you. An angel of God
Yeah.
shows up. And he's like, I gotta know he's gonna be with me. I'm kind of scared.
How
It's
can
like,
I know?
throw out a fleece, and tomorrow the ground will be soaking wet,
Yeah.
but your fleece will be dry. And it does it. And you think, oh, he's gonna go now. It's go time. And he's like, hey, look, I'm still kind of scared. Can I throw out the fleece again and maybe
Yeah.
this time it be wet and the ground be dry? And that way I'll know it's not a fluke. And they go and do it. And it works. And he's like, I guess I got to go. And then he gets like 10,000 people. He's like, now we going to get them.
Yeah.
And God's like, it's too many. You need to wheedle them down
Yeah.
and get in. Or you won't believe I did it. And Gideon's like, is this really what we got to do?
Yeah.
And it's not just him not picking on Gideon. It's like every single one.
person who's ever.
Ever.
This is why like
Peter,
people,
even though
you know,
I
there's
have
like
to
this,
die with
yeah.
you, I will never betray you. And
Yeah.
Jesus is like, Peter.
Like what more proof do you need that faith is a gift?
Oh,
like
my
you know,
goodness.
this is like a controversy.
Yeah.
You know that like people think that faith
You
in
muster
God,
up
like,
faith.
Yeah, like this comes from yourself. No,
No.
faith is a gift, dude. If God did not give you faith, you would never be even close to
Not
believing.
even close.
Not even close.
Yep. I
And
know
that's
it.
what you get in this passage.
Yeah.
That's what.
But here's the thing: just trust in intercession. You should intercede for people.
You should. The Lord might do it just because you ask, man.
You're not Moses in this scenario.
Yeah.
You are the guy outside of his tent.
Yeah.
You know, watching Moses go, and his kid's like, "Dad, what's going on?" It's like, I don't know, son. Hopefully Moses will fix this because man, we've done some stupid stuff.
Moses is a type of Jesus in this.
Yes.
He's like a prototype of Jesus,
a
right?
proto Jesus.
Proto Jesus,
Yeah.
right? In a sense, he's not obviously Jesus. I
No.
don't mean that, but he's doing imperfectly what Jesus ends up doing perfectly.
Yes.
You know. So
And
that's
the
a big
Bible's
deal.
careful to show us
Yeah.
his shortcomings.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and we do get shortcomings in Moses. And we'll talk about those soon, actually. All right. That is all the time we got today on the Big Deal Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Y'all will see us later.